Hey everyone, Zephyr here, and welcome to my channel. I recently started a new series, playing Pleasantview, on this channel, and I wanted to give my Sims a bar to go to. Now here is my thought process behind building this bar, just so you can, take a peek behind the curtain on how my mind works. Okay, so the only Sims 2 player that I watched play Pleasantview on YouTube is Pleasant Sims. And for the past, few iterations of Pleasantview I've attempted, have kind of copied her by plopping down Doc Allen's hangout in the neighborhood, renovating it, and using it as a place my Sims could visit. Which I know in my brain is fine. It's a fine thing to do. It's just taking a building that's already in the game, renovating it, and playing in it. But I don't want to do it this time because I'm scared people will be like, "Oh, you're trying to copy Pleasant Sims." So I just decided to make my own bar just to kind of avoid the hypothetical situation I'm creating in my head. But I really feel like Max has dropped the ball by not making a bar for Pleasantview, because off the top of my head there's 3 romance Sims in the neighborhood, actually 4. Dawn, Nina, Daniel, and Herbie. Is it Herb or Herbie? I think it might be Herb. Yeah, I have a customer named Herbie, and the Sim is named Herb. But yeah, they're all romance Sims, and they don't have a place to prowl and do their thing, and I feel like they need that. I mean, a romance Sim will make do. They can find love anywhere, but I feel like a bar is just a nice fitting spot where I can have spots for Sims to woohoo, and just an excuse to find someone. This game was made in the early to mid 2000s, and there wasn't Tinder, so people were still meeting people outside of the internet. You know what's embarrassing about me? I didn't meet my boyfriend on Tinder or Plenty of Fish or out in the tall grass of the real world. We met on Reddit. And I just constantly see people absolutely roast that website. And if it wasn't for the website, I wouldn't have had my boyfriend for the past 4 years. Almost 5 years now. And Reddit is actually what you make it, because there's really nice communities still on that website. The reddit.com/Sims2 community is actually really great. I love seeing people, still play this game. So, if you ever want to check out a good Sims 2 community that's not Tumblr, go over there. Tumblr is still really good too. It's a good place for custom content. I'm not trying to put Tumblr down in any way. So I've been debating whether or not I want to tell this specific story, but it's too funny not to share, but you need context. So 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago now, I was on Plenty of Fish before I met my boyfriend. Plenty of Fish is a dating website that's an absolute cesspool, but you can find some decent men on there. And I was talking to a somewhat decent man. We got along. He was into video games and stuff. And other things I was into. But that point of my life was honestly a blur, because I was trying to unpack something that had happened to me, and I was not ready to be on there talking to men, right? So he'd be trying to meet up with me, and I'd be putting it off or changing the subject, until eventually I decided that I couldn't do it, and I told him that, and I told him the reason why. And I don't even remember him replying to me, but I remember him changing his profile, and at the end of it saying, "If you're not over your ex, don't talk to me." And it wasn't even that reason in particular that I stopped talking to him. But I think that's how he interpreted what I told him. It was clearly about me. The edit was made a day after I sent my final messages to him. Anyway, a year later, I'm on the website again. I think he messaged me, and I just ignored him because I felt awkward. Anyway, fast forward to present day. I now work in a town I know he lives in. And it's not like he's the one that got away or anything, or I was thinking about this when I got the job, or that I'm even thinking about him at all. I've had my boyfriend for 4 years. But a couple of weeks ago, guess who rolls up in the drive-thru? Him. And I promise there's a point to this story. I'm not just making fun of the man for coming through my drive-through. Like there's a point to the story here. Anyway, the first time he comes through, he just kind of like side-eyes me, and I just hand him his food because it was my coworker that took his order to begin with. And I was the one just running food out to customers, so I handed him his food, and he kind of like, gave me a look, and I was like, oh god, I think that was him. Like it definitely was him. The next week he comes through again, orders the same exact thing. My coworker is the one that took his order to begin with, and I went to hand him his food, and like he didn't say anything to me, didn't make eye contact. He just kind of like grabbed the food and like left. And I looked over at my coworker, and I was like, was that guy normal towards you? Like, did he look at you or didn't say anything? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this man is still mad, I think. And if the story ended there, I don't even think I'd be telling the story. But there was a funny event that happened afterwards. I had this private Twitter account for me and like my close friends that I just tweet random things on, right? And anyway, I was kind of like chronicling this journey with this man coming through my drive-thru. So I write a quick little blurb about it on Twitter. I say, the guy I ghosted 6 or 7 years ago on Plenty of Fish never makes eye contact with me when he comes through drive-thru at my work. And I know it's just me because I asked my coworker and he was fine with her. So I write that, go about my day. The next week he comes through again, and I decide I want to tweet about it. Because clearly my followers are super interested in this story, right? So I'm like, he came through again and had to say no to me when I asked him if he wanted jam or peanut butter. But then he didn't say thanks when I gave him his food. Okay, and I thought I was replying to my original thread, all the tweets I just read out to you. But I was actually replying to this original tweet I had. So picture my poor followers reading this. I replied to the wrong thread. I was like, the original tweet in the thread said, "There's a fly that's been harassing me all morning. I'm gonna sue." As you can see, my tweets are really deep, and I'm sure you would all love to follow me on this account. But yeah, I follow up that tweet with, he came through again and had to say no to me when I asked him if he wanted jam or peanut butter, but then he didn't say thanks when I gave him his food. And one of my friends, liked all the tweets in this, situation, and it was only a day later that I realized that the sequence of tweets made no sense and I had replied to the wrong tweet, and I've been giggling about it ever since. I just tweeted about a fly, then I tried to say that the fly came in and I had to ask him if he wanted any jam or peanut butter. I don't know, maybe this was just funny to me, but, I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, I guess I'll talk about the build. I really didn't know what I was going for the inside of the build. I thought I had, a nice, kind of, modern southern vibe at the exterior of the build, but then I decided to make this little poker area, and I was thinking, oh, it would be cool to have a kind of saloon vibe in here, wouldn't it? And then I just built this. It kind of looks like something you would see in the Goth family home or something. It's kind of out of place, but also kind of fun, so I just kept it in. I thought it was cute. I feel like sometimes when I personally enter buildings, I don't expect the interior of the building to look the way it does, but it looks a certain way, and I don't associate the inside of the building with what it looks like outside. There's no correlation there or whatever, and I just wanted to do that here today. Anyway, if you're looking to download the build, it's going to be available on my Patreon. It is completely for free. I will never charge for my builds, because one, that's kind of weird, and two, I think that goes against some terms and services. And also on the Patreon post, I always link the download to Sims File Share as well. So if you're not comfortable downloading directly off Patreon, you can go on Sims File Share. But that will be linked down below if you're interested in that. My public Twitter account will also be linked down below. Maybe I should start using them more. Maybe I could tell you guys about, the flies that come into my room, or old Flame showing up at work. He wasn't an old Flame, but I just thought that story was funny. Anyway, here I am just finishing up the little bar area. Bars in The Sims 2 are so fun. I love the vibe. I love the bar NPCs. I I just think it's a fun activity for your Sims to do in this game. And the animations are A+. I love the bartending animations. I love how Sims kind of like lean over the counter waiting for their drinks. I think it's really fun, and it creates nice moments for screenshots. Like, the Sims 2 animations, they can be clunky at times, but, like, they're so good. Also, I want to talk about that fireplace. I know it looks bad from the outside of the build, and I know it doesn't really fit in with the outside of the build, but I really wanted the fireplace in the poker room, and we had to make that sacrifice. Like, it had to happen. I make an attempt to cover it up, but it looks bad trying to cover up a fireplace in The Sims 2, so we're gonna accept it. We're gonna love it for how it is, and we are not gonna bring the fireplace down, okay? Anyway, I knew I wanted a hot tub on this back deck area. At this point, though, I'm thinking, oh my god, this fireplace is ugly. So I attempt to cover it up with a tree. I think it covers it up a little bit, but I acknowledge it's ugly. It's just, we need to accept it. I'm sure there's a mod that could, like, potentially make it look better, but I just didn't want to deal with it. But in the slot, there's 2 places for your Sims to woohoo, either the hot tub or the photo booth. And if you have ACR, they might just randomly start doing things on the couch, which is kind of nasty. I'm sure that couch doesn't get cleaned as often as it should, and I don't want to know what kind of Sims juices are in between the crevices of that couch. Like, imagine little Dawn swimmers, like, oh, what am I saying? Oh my god. Okay, this is getting a little unhinged, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to, like, build a church or something after this for Pleasantview. But what would I talk about in a church speed build? I'd be like, hey guys, do you want to hear about my real life Wicked Whims moments? Like, I should not build a church. I don't know what's gotten into me today. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what Pleasantview families would go to church. Like, maybe the Burbs, maybe Herb and Coral, maybe Mary Sue because she was raised by Herb and Coral and her family. But I can't imagine the Calientes or Dawn going to church. And I imagine that Darren probably has a, like, kind of messed up relationship with the church right now since his wife just died. I feel like a church would be a fun lot, but I probably shouldn't do a speed build of it, especially when I'm in the kind of mood I'm in today, apparently. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm running out of time here, but it actually pertains to this game. Specifically the Pleasantview series I'm gonna do. So I think the next, like, actual gameplay footage you guys are gonna see are gonna be the Sims that are currently in university, because I'm playing Pleasant Sims Perfect Pleasantview. Do you guys think I should give the university Sims makeovers and, like, make over their home lots and then play? Or should I, like, just, like, hop into gameplay? Given the makeovers would take a lot of time, and I could just kind of, like, slowly make them over throughout gameplay. And really, I could do the same thing with the house. Like, I could add things throughout gameplay. But also, I feel like it's satisfying to just, like, completely make over a Sim in their house, you know? What should I do? Should I make a couple of speed builds of me, like, renovating their homes and stuff, and then play? Or should I just let it happen organically? I'm kind of leaning towards organically right now, because sometimes when I, like, make over things too much in Pleasantview, I kind of get, like, overwhelmed and, like, stop playing. I could just use an outside opinion on that. Oh, and it was at this point during the build where I placed down a bunch of neon flamingos, and I think I'm gonna name this bar, like, the Neon Flamingo. I think that's fun. It sounds like a bar name to me, I don't know. I'm definitely not a bar expert because I don't drink, but it sounds somewhat like a bar. I mean, The Sims 4 had the Shriek and Llama, so I think the Neon Flamingo isn't too far out there. I definitely do intend to build more lots for Pleasantview. If you guys have any ideas for any lots I could build in the main hood itself, downtown, or even the vacation subhoods or Blue Water Village, definitely let me know. I kind of want to, like, make a hospital for Dawn and, like, the other doctors in town. I feel like that would be fun. I might even build a town hall. Those are just kind of, like, the ideas that are floating around in my head right now. Like, I watched a good portion of Grey's Anatomy. I recently stopped watching it, but I'm just kind of, like, imagining having Dawn, like, go to work and, like, having him have a spot in the on-call room for him to woohoo I feel like that'd be fun, and I want to build the hospital specifically for that reason. But anyway, we are getting towards the end of the video. We're going to be going into some screenshots. If you guys like the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.